the camera just stopped working while I was doing the countdown video, so that was ridiculous. Um, full on panic mode. Full on panic mode. Let's see. What's up, Russ?
What's up?
Did you notice the camera cut out?
Yeah.
Dude, like, oh man,
It was just black screen.
My heart dropped. I was like, wait, what in the world happened? The camera cut off whenever you were putting the chair down. I don't know if you hit the cord, because the cord's really weak. So I bought a camera at Walmart, webcam. I'm going to turn that on. If that becomes a problem between you and the chat, y'all let me know. But I bought a camera, a webcam at Walmart.
Hit the cord again.
The connection is a USB-C, which my laptop is only USB connections, and so I had to buy an adapter. The adapter I bought is probably Generic Time. That would be the name of the company. No, that's not really the name of the company. It's not a more well-known brand. LadyPrime. Do you want to possibly open those? Wow. Russ, how are you doing, sir?
Pretty good.
All right, I'm scrolling through the chat. Let me say hi to everybody, and then we will we'll get ready to rumble.
Sounds good.
Robin was here early. Ollie's friend Jaden was in the chat earlier. He said he would be here, so he was the first chat I saw. I'm not saying Robin was not the first. Oh, let me raise my chair.
Yeah, bask in my fatness.
There we go. Do I look better now?
Yes, because I can't see you.
LadyPrime, say hi to Russ.
Hi, Russ. Look at my shirt.
What's up?
Because we're...
Oh, my gosh.
Jericho.
It lives on forever.
Have you seen the meme? Tell her you look like Chris Jericho, but don't let her know what era Chris Jericho you look like.
I already know what error Brandon's going to say. I mean, Fanboy Prime's going to say.
Robin was saying, I'm just looking up this match on Wikipedia. Me too, Robin. I was looking up the pay-per-view on Wikipedia because it does have a listing of the entrants in the Royal Rumble, so that'll be good. The Uncanny D-Man. Cool. Let's get ready to rumble. Or I got to say, let's get ready. Or maybe I'll get charged with some royalties. I've been stealing his line.
Get a cease and desist letter in the mail.
Yes.
Hi, Neil.
I hope all three of them are in leotards. Russ, do you have your leotards with you?
No, I'm leotard free.
Maybe Fanboy will have a headband. Oh, I should have put my headband on, my red, white, and blue one.
I need to buy like some wrestling shirts for these, man.
Yeah, Leah, LadyPrime has all of my wrestling shirts with her collection, and so I don't know where they're at. So I have this one Macho Man one I got from her cousin. Cousin, yes. Come to think of it, I don't want to see Fanboy's hairy chest. I don't have a hairy chest. I barely grew my chest hairs in like 6 months ago. And it's like 4, and it's like not pretty at all.
No, when we got married, there was probably like 2.
Nightwing McBain is here. The worst name on YouTube, Nightwing McBain.
It makes me think of McDonald's.
Callie and Jordan Squad, Fanboy Prime to win the comic challenge. Carmen's Crafts is here. Hello, Carmen.
Hello, Carmen.
I always like the Grinch over there in that corner, in that little icon. Let's see. Oh, sure, blame her.
He does.
Bottom tier collectors here, and here we go. That's kind of how it felt whenever I was starting on the. Need to make more room for that.
I know.
Alrighty. So this. Where is? There we go. Need this too. I'll use this here in a bit if I need it. So this match was suggested to us by the chat. Not this match, the whole event, the Royal Rumble event, because we'll be talking about the whole event. Did you watch the whole event, or did you just watch the Royal Rumble match?
No, I watched the whole thing.
Watched the whole thing. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was my first time watching it because I don't remember watching that one from back in the day.
Wow. Gotcha. I can tell you this. It's been a while since I've watched it because I forgot a lot of things that took place in this. What I didn't like is that if you watched it on Peacock, it has the Coliseum video interviews in the back that, like, I have a DVD of it. I bought the Royal Rumble box set at the end of 2007.
Oh, yeah?
They had all the 20, I think it was the Royal Rumble anthology set, and they had all 20 Royal Rumbles at that time in that box set. So that's the version I'm used to watching it on. But Peacock added the Coliseum video. And so, like, you have that weird interview with Hulk Hogan where, like, he has no energy when he's talking to Lord Alfred Hayes.
Biscuit.
It has that weird video with Ric Flair where he's just, and I'm number 3. Which, if you're just watching it for the first time, it kind of spoils it for you. Whereas later on, when he does come out, Bobby the Brain's like going crazy about it. So I don't know. It was weird. Kelly and Jordan Squad says, what is Vince's new company going to be called? I don't think he's going to start one. I don't think he can. I think he'll need some.
I think Vince is cooked, man. He's done.
Yeah, too much ill will. I think if he does anything, he'll buy AEW, but the people that he would buy it from have more money than he does. So
that would be great. It'd be like when they showed up on simulcast when they bought WCW back in the day.
Bottom tier collector. I don't know if I've ever seen the entire pay-per-view, just the Rumble. It's a great Rumble. It's a fantastic Rumble. I gotta say, even the matches beforehand, good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of tag team matches. I think there were 3 different tag team matches.
Yes. Does LadyPrime have Fanboy's hat on?
No, this is mine, but he's gonna claim it.
Bottom tier collector. That Lord Alfred Hayes guy lasted into 1992. Yes, I think this was the last year he was there. They would go on a spree of cutting like managers and announcers. So he may have lasted to 93 because 93 is when they really did it. That's like kind of around the time that Mean Gene left, that Bobby the Brain left because they weren't paying everybody out as much. Those were the dark days of the WWF. And Lord Alfred Hayes felt insulted, is what I've read, that Vince would ask him to take a pay cut. And so when Lord Alfred Hayes went away, you really never heard of him again. All right, let me pull up the Wikipedias. Do you have any pre-game thoughts, Russ, before we get into talking about it? Any thoughts on the Royal Rumble? Without, spoiler free, if you will, or whatever.
Well, I'll wait till we talk about the Rumble itself before.
Alrighty.
I got my notes.
Yeah, I need to do a better job of taking notes because, yes, thank you, David. A promotional consideration paid for by the following. Yes, thank you. Rest in peace, Lord Alfred Hayes. Yes, like such an iconic statement. All right. Look,
and this is my note journal from when I was watching the WrestleManias.
Golden Girls.
WrestleMania 8.
Oh, you're behind bottom tier collector.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was the last one he left off with.
But yeah,
see, I need to do that because I never take notes or anything either. But and a lot of times, like my short-term memory is not good, so I'll forget what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it, but it also brings me back to when I was a kid. This is what I would do. I would write Monday night, I would write SmackDown, I would write Jax, I would write Velocity, Sunday Night Heat. Like, there was a while where I had all my spirals of every match that I would watch.
All right, it
That's
says
awesome.
Oh, sorry, Russ. I didn't want to cut you off. My bad. It says it took place January 19th, 1992. We're looking at 32 years ago. So one thing I did notice as I'm watching this pay-per-view back is how many of the guys have passed away, in the time since I watched it. 92 was Prime Fanboy Prime wrestling viewing time. So I was fully invested in watching wrestling at this time. Robin, what? I didn't want to cut you off. Yes. But so this isn't like WrestleMania 6 where I'm coming into wrestling. Like, I had already become fully invested in these characters. So obviously the nostalgia there, the member berries are there as I watch this Royal Rumble. All these guys are here to, or all these guys are stars in my mind, even if they were lower card guys. But just as we're watching the show, I would look at the match and I'm like, oh man, 3 of the 4 people in this match are gone, or just crazy.
And what's crazy? Oh, go ahead.
It doesn't feel like 32 years have passed from 1992 to now. I'll say that. Hey, Kenneth, good
Definitely.
to see you.
I didn't start watching wrestling until 97. So all my history and knowledge, like once I got into wrestling, like I went full in and watched everything that I could find. Like I had an uncle who worked at a pawn shop, so I would get old DVDs. I mean, not DVDs, VHSs. I'm sorry, VHSs, and then I would have.
For Flair, it looks like 832 years have passed. Oh man, LadyPrime, you need the blue blur clip. I'm not sure.
The blue blur clip.
Oh, with the talking that Neil plays.
Oh,
I guess that's what he's talking about. Alrighty. So first up, the first match was the New Foundation, which was Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Owen Hart versus the Orient Express. This would be the Orient Express version with Kato behind the mask and Pat Tanaka with Mr. Fuji as their manager. Orient Express previously had Sato and Tanaka, which both of those guys were unmasked. The masked Sato is actually Paul Diamond. If you're familiar with Shawn Michaels' wrestling company he had, the Texas Wrestling Alliance, you may remember the major heel in that company was named Venom, and that was Paul Diamond. So Shawn Michaels had worked with Paul Diamond for a while. Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond had tag teamed before this in the WWF. They were in the AWA. They were known as Bad Company, and they came to the ring with the song Bad Company by the band Bad Company. So the trifecta with Bad Company. But so the Orient Express here is Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka. But like I said, he's under the mask. He is Sato. No, I mean, not Sato. I'm sorry. Oh. He is Kato. Nightwing McBain did not like this version of the Orient Express. I thought this was a fantastic version of the Orient Express. David says the Orient Express needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I'll tell you this, Uncanny D-Man. Between this match with the New Foundation and then the Orient Express, I believe at the 1991 Royal Rumble opened up against the Rockers. That was another fantastic match. So I'm all about the Orient Express. They definitely are the workers. Definitely good workers. Where did I see? I know I saw.
Just Your Average Geeks.
There he is. Just Your Average Geeks. What is up? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Uncanny D-Man says, as does Jim Neidhart's taxi cab uniform in this match.
Ollie thought Jim Nightville's beard was his tongue hanging out.
And they would take on the New Foundation. The New Foundation would win this match, which this is kind of Owen Hart's second run in the WWF. He was the Blue Blazer around WrestleMania 5, but this is the first time he's unmasked, forming this new tag team, obviously with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, who comes from his tag team with Bret Hart. The New Foundation, I think that's a terrible name.
And then just their gear was so...
Their gear was bad.
So bad.
MC Hammer Pants, hashtag MC Hammer Pants all around.
I'm pretty sure it was my first time seeing that ring gear. That tripped me out.
That match went 17 minutes and 19 seconds long.
But I never realized, like, I always knew everyone talked about how Owen was so great. You know, that's everybody has their opinion, but like, I really watched that match and watched him like carry that match. Like, I was like, he's really underrated. Like, my eyes were wide open now. So now I need to go back and just invest time
this is
watching Owen Hart.
The Uncanny D-Man says, who is Jim the Anvil Neidhart? So there was a character for a while there named Who, and it was Jim the Anvil Neidhart in a mask. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Uncanny D-Man sent me a picture of the toy. They're going to release a toy of Who, which was Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So
I didn't know that. That's cool.
that's a deep dive for them to release him.
Yeah.
Nightwing McBain says, I agree, Lady Prime. Owen was amazing. David Calvin Jordan Squad. Owen Hart was so good. What are your thoughts on this match, Russ?
Oh man, I love that. Like
You were probably
that
right.
was, yeah, that was one of the first Owen Hart matches I've seen in years. So that was like awesome, like seeing him come out to the ring and do his thing again, man. Because it's probably since he passed away, I haven't really went back and watched any Owen matches before. So that was like just nostalgia right there, watching him perform again. It's like Lady Prime said, it made me want to go back and watch like more Owen Hart matches.
The Uncanny D-Man, I believe he believes that I believe that he said this before, that Owen Hart should have won the world title in the summer of 1994 at the peak of the brother versus brother feud. I believe David has said in times past that Owen should have won the world title, and I'm not. I don't argue that point. Owen was that good. WWF at that time, though, very heavy on the faces having the world title, having the belts. Yeah. But Owen Hart really good, and you could see it in this match. This match was pretty much an Owen Hart showcase. He took a beating for most of it. I mean, he's doing so much work. But everybody's making everybody look good in this match. You know, when you need the strong guy to come, Anvil does his part. Pat Tanaka, underrated guy. But like David said, Orient Express should be Hall of Famers. Paul Diamond, what a guy, looks like he's chiseled out of stone. A good-looking tag team. But yeah, my thinking as I was watching this match is this is the Owen Hart show, and the other three guys were just co-stars in his match.
But it's crazy because in that era, that time, like with the Hogans and the Jake the Snakes and the Macho Mans, like it was all about those guys, like centered around them. And then you have like these solid matches, like little, like if you were a real wrestling fan, like you really got to appreciate that. Like, wow, it was better. I guess not just a throwaway match.
Right. Yeah. Well, because the crowds, see, we're a little spoiled nowadays with Monday Night Raw. We get every match. We get every match possibility pretty much. We see it for free on free TV. I don't know what the equivalent of this match today. This match today would be one of your lower tier tag teams versus one of your new tag teams. And the crowd would probably crap on it. They wouldn't respect it as much as the crowd did there. Because the crowd was, this is a great crowd. It's the Albany, New York, the Knickerbocker Arena. I think they said there were 17,000 in attendance. The crowd was on fire for just about everything they did that night. And so they were really invested in the match. Like you said, it wasn't a throwaway match. The Orient Express wasn't losing every week on TV. You know, they were defeating jobbers, which I don't want to say bring back jobbers, but those squash matches are important. So the Orient Express could get wins under their belt, and then you have a new team who's going to win. Knowing now, looking back, yeah, obviously the new foundation was going to win. But that crowd was invested in that match, and it wasn't a throwaway match, which that's a great point.
That kind of makes me think of like the mid-90s WCW, when guys like, you know, a young Eddie Guerrero and young Rey Mysterio and young Chris Jericho were just still in the show with matches, but they wasn't getting respect because it was all about Hogan and the NWO.
Right. The way someone described it once is that you tuned into WCW for the mid card, the lower card, because their main event card storylines kind of they weren't as strong as WWF. WWF's lower card and mid card wasn't as, they had some guys, but their main event was on point. They just didn't have the depth that WCW had.
And then NWO, it was just, you knew someone was going to beat somebody up, or someone was going to finally join the,
every single week a new member
or a faction of a faction of NWO.
Yeah.
I'm
When it
not
got
sure,
to
but I
like
think
Disco Inferno was trying to get in, it was done, man. It was cooked.
I like disco. I did like Disco Inferno when I was a kid.
I think 1 week I was a member of the NWO. I think
Yeah.
that's it. Everybody joined.
Yeah.
Well, Boar, fantastic to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to go back to this comment. Callie and Jordan Squad says, yeah, I'm not sure he should have won at that point, but he does believe that if the accident did not happen, he believes that Owen would have been a world champion one day. Some pretty cool thoughts. But Uncanny D-Man says, Owen feuded with Bret for the title all summer in 1994. Then they had Backlund beat Bret for it and give it to him for 3 days till he dropped it to Diesel. Why not let Owen have it instead? Yeah, I think that's true. You could have had Owen win it, and it still could have gone to Diesel. I don't know. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I will say this. You know, we lived in an era back then where not everybody won the world title. Versus today, there's some guys who can call themselves world champion, and I don't want to diss them and say that they didn't deserve it.
Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal was a great world champion.
Enjoyed that. I was like, whatever. Like, I wasn't all excited for him. No, this guy was like, I need to buy his shirt. He's the greatest. Like, yeah.
No, I didn't think that, but I thought he got a great crowd reaction.
No, he did. Yeah.
But like D-Man says, the world title gets passed around more than Sonny these days.
Well, no one's passing around her. Well, yeah, no, she's not being passed around in prison because she don't swing that way, she said.
Yeah,
but she said she is lonely.
Callie and Jordan Squad, that is so true, fanboy. WCW at 8, WWE at 9, the WCW 9:30, then back to around 10:30. Yes, thank you, David. Don't hinder gender. I'm really disappointed that they released Jinder Mahal because that one time when he came back and wrestled Seth Rollins and they had the interaction with The Rock, like, they dropped the ball.
Like, they had a chance to make another star.
Yeah.
Because for a while, like, I feel bad. Like, as much as I'll diss John Cena, like, I feel bad because they put him in the position to it was always John Cena, Triple H, or Randy Orton.
Who was going to be the champion for a while there.
And they weren't making other champions. So then,
no, the world heavyweight title was your mid-card guys who became a world champion. That's where you had, like, title reigns by I'm going to say Rey Mysterio's name, and people may get upset, but Rey Mysterio was allowed the world title. Jack Swagger was allowed the world title.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I don't know. But, yes, it was those three where you knew that was going to be the main match, and then these other guys had the opportunity for the belt. Robin is back, and Wellbore says, welcome back, Robin. I have to voice over my own voice recording because I filmed all this video and the Yeti wasn't working. Oh, her mic. Gotcha.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wellbore.
David was like 2 words, Jack Swagger. There we go.
Didn't like Jack Swagger try to go UFC or something for a little bit?
He was doing some MMA fighting. As far as I know, he hadn't lost yet, but
oh, really?
I don't know. AEW has them on their roster, but AEW doesn't know how to use the talent on their roster, so you'll never know. I love AEW. Like, I still want it to be a successful company, but all I can see right now are its flaws, and I'm having a hard time seeing anything good about it. Although I will say AEW had the best ending of a show this week than they've had in a long time, with Tony Khan getting involved. Like,
I saw the clips of that.
Yeah, and then with Jack Perry attacking him in the Young Bucks, like, that's the best ending they've had in a long time. I'm not saying it's necessarily the direction they should go, but definitely their best ending they've had in quite a while. Let's see.
You think they'll have like? Go
ahead.
You think they'll have Tony Khan doing the Vince McMahon and coming out and getting stunned every week?
I'm waiting to see him get in the ring like Vince did with Austin.
Yeah,
Vince's would be a little bit better than Tony Khan's. Like, I can't see Tony Khan was ever an athlete at one point.
Yeah.
At least Vince, he was working out.
I know it tripped me out the first time I saw Vince get in the ring and he was like all steroid up. I was like, what the crap, man?
They had to keep Vince out of the ring now because he would be bigger than most of the talent. That's the only thing Tony Khan has going for him. He's about the size of his roster. Oh, I'm
Same
still,
size as
all this AEW heat. I need to control. Let me get back in. Like I said, I want AEW to succeed. I love AEW. We ordered the pay-per-view this past week. The Ospreay versus Daniel Bryan match is probably an all-timer.
That was a good.
Yeah, I saw some clips of that. That looked like an amazing match.
It really was. It really was. Albert says they briefly brought jobbers back for Nia Jackson and even helped make a guy like No Chin music.
James Ellsworth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bottom Tier Collector says the World Heavyweight title is dumb. If you're going to have a heavyweight title, you should have weight classes and then the Universal belt be a whole roster belt. I agree. I don't like them calling it the World Heavyweight title. It's supposed to be a callback to the big gold belt, but if you're going to call back to the big gold belt, just have the big gold belt.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, man, because the big W in the middle of it, I still can't get used to that, man. I wish they would have just brought back the classic big gold.
I felt like it's too modernized that it just makes it, what's the word I'm looking for? Cliche.
Oh, the cliche,
cheesy,
like the belt? You're talking about the belt itself? Oh,
cheesy.
gotcha.
Like, make it real cheesy. Like, it doesn't look like a real championship, because I don't know if you've seen where Cody Rhodes is coming out with it and he's trying to hold it like Flair was holding it.
Oh yeah, like the NWA title and stuff.
Yeah, and so it just looks really awkward for it to be that big, and then when you see him throw it over his shoulder, it's just like it takes up the majority of him.
I still hope he brings back the classic championship.
Yes, definitely. Problem with AEW's world title belt is so big that like when Adam Cole was holding it, I felt sorry for Adam Cole's arms.
I do. I like the look of the AEW championship.
Yeah, for sure. It's a nice looking belt. Like I say, it's just a little bit oversized for the roster they have.
When Daniel Bryan won the belt at WrestleMania 30 and he was holding both of them, imagine like holding that much weight and then doing the yes constantly, like I'm pretty sure that didn't help his neck and all that stuff.
Probably not. Yeah.
The adrenaline only lasted so long. Kenny D-Man says, if the World Heavyweight title is dumb, Bottom Tier Collector, don't look up the WWE Speed Championship. Then talk about dumb. It's matches that take place under 3 minutes. It's like matches meant for like X, Twitter, and stuff.
It's still. Tell me it looks better than the 24/7 title at least.
That was a terrible thing.
Yeah, I feel bad for Mick Foley.
Robin says, I used to think Vince was cute when he was younger. Then he got thick.
I have a crush on Shane McMahon. Like, when Shane McMahon came back, was it for WrestleMania 30?
2016, WrestleMania 32.
I was like, hello, Shane.
But not when he did the leapfrog over Miz and tore his quad.
Yeah. It was bad. Just Your Average Geek Swing Angle belt was the best for me. Love that design. Yeah, it's over there over Ross's right shoulder. He's a show off with that belt. Mm-hmm. Neil Collect says, I know what your version of handsome is, Robin. So we can all agree this was a good opening match, right?
Yes.
We'll say good opening match.
Definitely.
It was a 10.
A 10? What's your scale? One to what? I don't think that match was a 10, but it was a good. You mean as an opener?
As an opener.
Oh, okay, gotcha. 10. I'm like, what are you going up to? Oh man, accidentally went too far. The next match was Roddy Piper defeating the Mountie for the Intercontinental title. Neil,
I'm a huge Piper fan, so that was awesome to see for me.
Did it surprise you how quick that match went by?
Yeah.
The only thing Ollie had to say was about it was, hey, that's the guy from They Live.
LadyPrime drinking out of the Anvil's jacket with shoes.
I know. I like checkerboard, but that outfit was just.
That match took 5 minutes and 21 seconds. I don't know.
What you said about Piper, that you didn't like the no selling, but then you said
I'm on the fence about Roddy Piper as an all-time great. Like I don't think his punches are great. I think he's kind of wild in the ring and kind of sloppy. If I were to describe Roddy Piper, yes. If I were to describe Roddy Piper to somebody that doesn't know who Roddy Piper is today, I would say, oh, he's kind of like John Moxley. He's just,
he's great. Like, I think the first Rowdy Piper match that I remember really seeing and liking was the street fight he had with Goldust at
it's a good match. I do like that match.
WrestleMania. Yeah. And then I went back and I started watching like the older stuff with like Jimmy Snuka with the coconut and the crazy promos that he cut on Piper's Pit. It made me a Piper fan.
This is getting a little ahead of the show, but there is an interaction that takes place in the Royal Rumble, the actual Royal Rumble match, where Piper and Hogan go at it for a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool because kind of referencing or just a look back at the WrestleMania 1 main event. They were feuding there at that time, 85 and stuff. I thought that was cool just to see them because other than that, I don't remember them ever interacting again until they were in WCW. Yeah. But it was cool to see them go at it again for a little bit in the WWF. David says, to this day, this might be the only time a wrestler wrestlers for the IC title and the world titles in the same night in 2 separate matches. I agree. Now, Gorilla Monsoon did state something wrong in the pay-per-view while he was on commentary. I think he said something about it. It would be the only time somebody could hold both titles, but he forgot WrestleMania 6, which it would happen almost 2 years ago at that point, because Ultimate Warrior was wrestling for both the world title and the Intercontinental title, and he was technically both champions at one time. But as David's saying, wrestling in 2 different matches for both titles, I think that is the only time that's probably have happened. Pretty cool. Shout out to the Mountie for getting a 2-day Intercontinental title run. Yep. Good for him. I know that's a transitional champion. The whole point, though, was to get the belt off of Brett, to get it on Piper for WrestleMania 8. So the Roddy Piper versus Bret Hart match at WrestleMania 8 is probably my favorite match on that card. If it's not that, it's the Flair Savage match that takes place. But Piper and Bret would put together some magic. So as much as I can diss Piper, that match at 8, Bret kept him under control, and he wasn't as sloppy as he could. Yeah, David, the Mountie with a 2-day title reign. Whoop. The fabulous Rougeau brothers, I've done some going back and watching their matches. Now I can't think of the Mountie's real name. What is it? Jacques Rougeau. Had quite a career. His tag team with his brother. Sad his brother got injured and they couldn't carry on because those guys were like due for a title reign. Their song "All American Boys," like top 5 WWF theme of all time. But Rougeau would go on from this Intercontinental title loss to team up with Pierre Ouellette, I think is his name, and win the tag team title 3 times. So not a bad career for Jacques Rougeau. 2-day Intercontinental title reign and 3 tag team titles. Not bad. Robin's back. 5-minute match, like I said, basically a squash match. Rougeau, Roddy pretty much owned it, but Jacques Rougeau got some offense in. Ended with the cattle prod. Piper hitting the Mountie with the cattle prod. Did you enjoy the superimposed sound effect that happened? It used to be far worse because it used to be a lot louder. What's up, Melodope? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. 2 lives in 1 day. Prime out here working. Wellbore, welcome back, Robin. Thanks, Wellbore. Robin.
No, it's thanks, Wellbore.
There you go.
You gotta do it right. If you're gonna do it right.
Robin loves Roddy Piper.
Piper fans in the house.
I do enjoy him. I get why people like him, but like now that I'm a critic, I know everything. I'm a snob. I'm what's the word when you grow up and you're so
cynical?
No, but there's another word.
A mark?
I'm a mark. Yes. I cannot think of the word right now. But anyways, it'll come to me later. But yeah, but I do. Roddy Piper as a character, I love. When I watch him in the ring, I just see things and I'm like, it gives me the ick.
Forget the IC and Heavyweight Championship fanboys, the real champ out here. No. I'm just hanging out with my friends. Okay, the next match is the Beverly Brothers, Bo and Blake with the Genius. Love the Genius, greatest manager of all time. Well, except for Bobby the Brain. But I do love the Genius doing his poems and his talking before matches. They would go on to defeat the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch, who came out with Jameson, in a match that took 14 minutes and 57 seconds. What did you think about this match, Ross? Ross. Water. What do you think about this match, Ross?
Cause I remember like seeing some Bushwhacker matches back in the day, but I didn't like have any like knowledge at all of the Jamerson manager that they had. Like I don't remember him whatsoever. Like when they came out with him, I was like, "Who is this?"
I don't remember. He's not their manager. I don't remember the angle. Jameson would appear a few times throughout the years. He worked backstage with the company. I don't know the full story. It's something to do with the Beverlys were like messing with him, and then the Bushwhackers made the same. So that's what it was. He wasn't their manager.
I saw him and I was just like, I was trying to remember, like, who is this guy? Chewing on his tie, eating a biscuit out of his pocket. What's going on?
I know. I feel like that was too much. Like you're trying to do the music and it's just.
Callie and Jordan Squad, David hated the Beverly Brothers. They were brutal. I don't like his scroll face though. Scowl face. Who are we talking about, Robin? Oh, Roddy Piper. Gotcha. Bushwhackers. My mom loved them. Speaking about the Luke and Butch, Wellbore loved Leaping Lanny before he was in the WWF. Even Neil thinks the Bushwhackers were awesome.
I did when I was a kid, man, but it was like that was the first Bushwhacker match I've seen since I was a kid. It was just so weird, like going around like licking random people and junk. I'm like, dude.
That was the thing that cracked me up the most is they were licking kids on the way to the ring.
like man, I would have been like, get away. Back up, man.
Imagine if that was going on during COVID time.
Callie and Jordan saw it says that the Beverly Brothers were a dangerous tag team. And there is a clip that I constantly see on Instagram where like they do some kind of move where one lifts them up and the other guy kind of pushes them down to the mat. Well, there's a clip where one of the jobbers is lifted up, and when he's pushed down, he lands pretty much directly on his head. I'm fairly confident that's what David's talking about there. Yes, and I was going to make this point. WWF recently released Von Wagner in NXT, who was the son of Bo Beverly, I think it is.
Which one was that one?
The thinner one. He was the thinner one. Are you talking about Von Wagner, or are you talking about on the tag team? Oh, Von Wagner. He's the one that was wrestling Kyle O'Reilly or teamed with him, and I think it was like Kyle O'Reilly's last match, I believe. I kind of was falling off of NXT at the time. I know his dad is Wayne Bloom. I think it was Bo. Bo Beverly was Von Wagner's dad. He's known as Wayne Bloom. Nightwing McBain says the Bushwhackers were over with the fans.
Oh yeah, definitely. In the crowd, the crowd loved them. Like
Neil says he can't lick people these days, just windows.
That's just as bad.
You have to get your tongue amputated or something, man.
Birds poop on those windows.
Robin says I was a kid too. I'm not sure what she means.
I was a kid too.
Or she loved them. You loved the Bushwhackers when you were a kid. Maybe that's what she meant. Wellbore says we had female friends back in high school that we would call Luke and Butch, and when they started having kids, Luke named one of her sons Luke.
But did she know? Was she in on it? Like,
did they walk down the hallway into school
doing the Bushwhacker?
I used to own the WWF Hasbro figures for the Bushwhackers, and like their toys were like legit like this. So if you wanted them to have
pose like that,
you had to make them punch everybody like that. One of them, you did their arm and it lifted their leg for a stomping move, and then the other one, like you lifted it and then it did their hands. So, yeah, fantastic toys. Wellbore, is there any way we can get a picture of Luke and Butch? Because I gotta see.
At least show them when they were in high school.
Yeah.
I show them now.
I gotta see who you were bullying back in the day. Every time I look at Lady Prime has taken an item of clothing off, you best hurry and finish, fanboy.
It's your lucky day, Neil.
Thoughts on this match? Of the 5 matches that take place, this is the one I didn't pay enough attention to. I gotta say, I meant to go back and watch this match, and I didn't. When I had it playing, I didn't pay enough attention to it. You want to go grab food after this match, Cousin Luke? No, Cousin Butch. I ate a whole meal of headlights on the way to the ring. How did they work on their walk to make it look that awesome? How long did they work on their walk to make it look that awesome?
I don't know.
Man.
But my favorite thing is when you watch the documentaries and you learn like how the character was developed, like just like certain things, like I'm gonna start doing this, and like when you watch about Randy Savage, they talk about. They say he wasn't a very big guy, so that they had insoles, like they had like to make him look taller. They would put like soles, and then the way he would walk would just make himself look larger than life. I don't know. I just like to always hear the story, so that would be cool to figure out how they came up with that.
I've never seen a Bushwhackers match outside of WWF. They were known as the Sheep Herders, but I heard they were like pretty hardcore, like bleeding all the time, having some like fights, rough matches. They were fun, lovable characters in the WWF, but outside of that, they were like a legit, like crazy tag team. Is what I hear. Like I said, I can't speak on that from experience.
I didn't know that. I've only seen them in WWF.
Yeah, I've always gotten the vibe that the Briscoes were inspired by the
that's the feeling you get.
But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just the camouflage. That's probably what it is, because they work.
Oh yeah, the camo.
And because of Mark, you know what I mean? Because Mark is a little more of the Bushwhacker-esque character.
We'll see you, David. Uncanny D-Man's got to go. Wife and kids are back with pizza. Enjoy the show. Spoiler, R-Truth wins the Rumble.
Oh, R-Truth is killing it, man.
Yeah, they were definitely. What's crazy is they would be there maybe till they were still in WWF in 1996, because I went to my first show at WWF Superstars taping in 96. And they were still part of the tag team tournament. The tag team titles were vacant, and the Bushwhackers were still there. So they were there for quite a while. They would come in and out. I'm sure they probably wrestled on house shows more than everything, because they weren't on TV all the time. But a fairly good, strong run for the Bushwhackers in the WWF. Alrighty.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun match, but it did, like, the Jameson manager was kind of distracting, and I was surprised the Bushwhackers didn't win, because I figured they would go over.
I want to say the Beverly Brothers were a fairly new tag team. Yes, that's true. One of them passed away. I don't know if it was Luke or Butch. I think Luke is the one that passed away. And one of them is still wrestling at 76 years old.
Well, I didn't know.
Wow.
I knew one of them passed away, but I didn't know one was still wrestling.
Maybe Ric Flair can get him for another retirement match.
Wellbore says, sorry, my boss called just now. We used to tease them, but they would hit us as girls did back then. That's where their nicknames came from. She lives up the road from me. We were close friends. Oh, okay. All right. He's trying to say he didn't bully them, but no, I'm kidding, Wellbore. I'm kidding. Yeah, but when I was looking up the Bushwhackers on Wikipedia, I did see that one was still wrestling, which is crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Robin says, "What? That's like when I went to see Titanic and someone walked past the line and said the ship sinks." R-Truth holding his title between Damien and Rhea was so.
That
was such a cool moment.
I was dying laughing. I had to even rewind it so that he could see it. I was like, "You missed it. What he just?"
Oh, she lived up the road from Wellbore. They were close friends, so they're not close friends now. And he just
enemies. They're enemies.
He just put her on blast that she was either Butch or Luke. So. But yes, the fact that he was celebrating with the Judgment Day, all the champions, that was a great moment.
I would love to see R-Truth beat Damian Priest for that title. Forget McIntyre.
Oh man. So you said it was a fun match, just the Jameson stuff was a bit much?
Yeah, that was a trip, man.
And you?
I didn't care for the manager. I thought it was
Jameson?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I enjoyed the match. I thought it was like just one of those like
solid work all around.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Would you describe the match as a solid match, Russ?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, I would say the Bushwhackers were over, but maybe not stars.
Yeah.
You could say
They were
Beverly Brothers,
like a crowd favorite.
Yeah, if you say the Beverly Brothers weren't necessarily stars either. So it is confirmed. Return is not 52. Oh, it is confirmed. Return is not 52 years old. He is much younger, as he was a big fan of John Cena when he was a kid.
Is he talking about R-Truth?
Oh, is that what he said? Is it confirmed? R-Truth is not 52 years old. He's much younger, as he was a big fan of John Cena when he was.
My childhood hero. Every time
I get what he's saying now.
Everything R-Truth does is just like gold, man.
Much younger. He's a big fan of John Cena.
And he's just naturally funny too. Like, I watched him in this interview. It was Bubba Ray and Mark Henry and some other dude I wasn't familiar with. He was on this podcast, and just R-Truth is a character. Like, if I had to be around him, my abs would hurt.
Didn't he show up without his clothes on because he was?
No, yeah, he was on there. So he was on that podcast. He had no shirt on.
No worries.
No shirt on, and all the guys were like, "You didn't want to put a shirt on?" He's like, no big. He wasn't thinking of it. He's like, "What? Am I supposed to put a shirt on? You want me to put a shirt on?"
They're wrestlers. They don't wear shirts.
I know. So that's why I didn't think it was a big deal. But then they were like, "Are you in your underwear? What do you got?" And then he jumped up and he was in his boxers. And boxers are not tight. So anything could have just came out. And they were like, "Oh, whoa, whoa."
R-Truth is definitely a unique talent. It's great to see that he got a WrestleMania moment. Shout out to R-Truth.
Yeah, he cried too. Like, you saw him get a little emotional.
All right, next up, is this the worst match on the card? The natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon, with Jimmy Hart defeating the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal by countout.
I just get excited.
I'd say so. That was
the greatest.
Wasn't the greatest match. I will say this about this match: that Animal was what Owen Hart was to the first match between the Orient Express and the New Foundation. Animal was for this match, because that fool was running. The way he hit the ropes, he was going back and forth. The clotheslines, the time they try to do a backdrop, a double backdrop on Animal, and he almost lands on his feet. He still a little bit, but he hits the ropes, bounces on the ropes again, and then double clotheslines him. Like, Animal was a beast.
He was a beast. Like, I just enjoy seeing them. Their presence, just the makeup, the what is it called? The gear,
the spikes, the shoulder pads,
the shoulder pads.
The shoulder pads. Yeah.
Like, I get excited seeing them, even if
their presence was.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
awesome ring gear.
They're bad, and I've always thought that. Like, I'm like, those guys. Like, and I always think, like, when they were out in public, like out on the road eating at a restaurant, like, what did people say? Especially because you know how their hair was, like.
Yeah, you like picture them sitting at like McDonald's with the full wrestling gear.
My cousin did get Hawk's autograph at a Whataburger after a show.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, he got to tell that story, and I was like a little jealous. So when I finally went to my first wrestling show, I was like, we have to go to Whataburger after the show. They may be there, but didn't get to. In Corpus, where we would go for our early shows, it's the stadium. The arena is right there, and on the same strip, it's basically just a Whataburger. It's off the shoreline. It's the first Whataburger. It's built on the grounds of the first Whataburger. Whatever. It's something like that. And so, like, it's like Nine McBain would know. He used to work for Whataburger, so he'd probably tell you more about it. But it's supposed to honor the first Whataburger there in Corpus. You ever see the Dark Side of the Ring episode about the Road Warriors? That was a really good one. I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I feel like I probably have. No, you know what? I haven't seen that one. No, and I haven't seen the Sherry one that came out this past Tuesday, so I'm a little behind.
Nightmare McBain says, yes, the Road Warriors are the greatest tag team ever. I can't say that, but I can see why people love them. Are you ready to say who the greatest tag team is, or is that another episode?
That's another episode. But I found a list that we'll talk about in a little bit. This paper right here.
It's like
8
years old.
Yeah, 8 years old. We'll talk about this in a little bit.
What did you think about the natural disasters, Russ?
I mean, it's kind of cool just seeing them like wrestle, like just from the memories of them from when I was younger. But I don't like, as far as the match goes, it was just mid for me. But it was cool seeing them in the ring as a team.
You know, like after watching the Dark Side of the Ring about Earthquake, John Tenta, like I respected him. Like I was like, oh man, like he really was this monster. This guy I didn't like. You know, he's squashing breaking Hogan's ribs there at SummerSlam '90, and so became a fan again. Watching him though, when watching this match, I was like, this is why I didn't necessarily like him so much back in the day.
Yeah.
Like
The match could have been so much more. When you have big guys like that, it's to counter, you know, the strength of the Legion of Doom, and I don't think they told that story well enough. I don't think that came off enough in that story.
Yeah.
It just seemed a little sloppy. That's all. And then it ended in a count.
Now, the whole count out thing and like natural disasters getting in the ring with the belts, was that where the rule started? That titles can't change hands on a count out? Because they
No.
were acting like they won.
That rule was already in place. It was just the tease the crowd. There was no.
I didn't know if they had just like implemented that then or what.
No, it had been around before that. I can remember it being before that, and I don't know. I guess it was to get the visual of them having the titles and to build up
for the vignette.
So the next pay-per-view after this is WrestleMania 8. The Road Warriors would not be at WrestleMania 8. They wouldn't wrestle. They would make an appearance. They would simply have an interview. They'd be interviewed. They would bring back Precious Paul Ellering as their manager, while the Natural Disasters, who wrestled for the tag team title at the Royal Rumble, would go on to wrestle at WrestleMania 8 for the tag team title, but they would be taking on Money Inc., $1 Million Man and IRS, who would be managed by Jimmy Hart. So Jimmy Hart would kind of push the Natural Disasters aside to get with Money Inc., who defeated the Legion of Doom for the tag title, which would also lead to the Nasty Boys leaving Jimmy Hart because Jimmy Hart managed the tag team champions. Yes. He managed the Natural Disasters, he managed the Nasty Boys, and now he was managing Money Inc. It's like, you got to do something with all these tag teams. So, no, they did not win the tag team titles at WrestleMania. They won them at a house show a few months later, and I don't even know how long they held the titles for. Maybe a couple months. It wasn't long, I don't believe. Let me see. I can look this up real quick before we get to the Royal Rumble itself. But yeah, I would say this was the weakest match in the card. It just seeing how Tugboat, Typhoon, and Earthquake, like they should have wrestled a little bit more aggressively. I think if they would have been willing to get a little stiff, it would have made that match look a whole lot better. Animal brings the chair into the ring at one point. I think it's some of the weaker chair shots. Let's see. I'll let you know right now, David. Natural Disasters would win the tag team title July 20th, 1992 at a house show in Worcester, Massachusetts, and they would keep the titles until October 13th, 1992. They would lose the titles on a Wrestling Challenge TV taping. So there you go. Yeah. I think the Beverly Brothers match was not that good either. I remember that match. And I forgot to mention that I'm sorry, Carmen. All this wrestling talks make me miss my dad. He was a wrestling fanatic. Oh. It would have been cool if he could have been here with us on the stream and let us know his thoughts. But I get it, Carmen. I forgot to mention that the Beverly Brothers and the Bushwhackers, so they had a match here at the Royal Rumble. They would have a dark match at WrestleMania 8. So they would wrestle there in the crowd, but no, it wouldn't be on the pay-per-view. It's so funny that those guys would carry on that match. I think, though, let me see. Look this up, because I barely found out about this today. I think the Bushwhackers would win that one. Yeah, the Bushwhackers would defeat the Beverly Brothers at that pay-per-view. It does not say they came to the ring with Jameson, but the Beverly Brothers came to the ring with the Genius.
Robin, that was good. That was good, Robin.
You could talk your ear out like fanboy. Thank you, Robin. Yeah. All right, so next up is the big one, the Royal Rumble event. This would be the, let's see, 78, 89, 81, 82. Was this the 6th Royal Rumble or the 5th?
When did it start in
This would be the
86?
5th Royal Rumble.
Or
I think it started in the 88 because
88?
that represented WrestleMania 4, where they had the
Yeah, I
title
remember
tournament.
the first one, they only had like 20 men in the first Rumble, right?
The first one wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a like a TV special on the USA Network.
Oh,
And then 89 would be the first pay-per-view, 90 would be the second pay-per-view, 91 the third, 92 the fourth, but it would be the 5th Royal Rumble. He would even watch Mexican wrestling. Sweet, the lucha libre. So Just Your Average Geek would say the 5th Royal Rumble. Sweet. So this is early on in the Royal Rumble history. Like I said, this would be the 4th pay-per-view, the 5th Royal Rumble because of the TV special. This would be the first Royal Rumble, though, to have stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was just the glory of winning the Royal Rumble. This would be the first Royal Rumble where you won and you got something. The WWF title would be on the line in this Royal Rumble.
Not like, when did it change where it became like the road to WrestleMania?
1993 would be the first year that the winner got a title match. That would be Yokozuna winning the Royal Rumble and facing Bret Hart. Where they started calling it the road to WrestleMania, that probably in the last 20 years.
Like 2000. I think it would be 2000.
Yeah.
I swear in the game, WrestleMania 2000, there's even a section that says the road to WrestleMania. Like, that's my first, like, memory.
But 93 would be the first time that, hey, if you win, you're the number one contender. That's where it began. They just didn't market it as the road to WrestleMania and stuff. Like nowadays, Royal Rumble pay-per-view starts, Michael Cole comes on, we're officially on the road to WrestleMania. Like, he'll say that now. They weren't saying it back then. So Just Your Average Geek's 5th Royal Rumble. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, Dave. But up until this point, it's important to note that they stuck by the rules of the Royal Rumble, that the first, like, few entrants,
They didn't. They spaced it out.
they may have gone far into the match, but they were definitely not there at the end. So Flair coming out at number 3 was a big deal because you're thinking he is not going to win. Now, I have to confess, before the Royal Rumble 1992, my cousin Jesse predicted that Ric Flair would win the Royal Rumble. He predicted Ric Flair would win the Royal Rumble. My friend Pete said Sid Justice would win the Royal Rumble. Me thinking, I said Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan would win the Royal Rumble because that's who they're going to give the belt to.
yeah, that's what I thought. Like, going into it, I figured Hogan would win it.
Never
Because
thought
that was the first time I saw it.
So you didn't know who won this Rumble when you watched it?
Huh?
When you watched it right now, did you know who was going to win it?
No, like when I watched it yesterday, I had no idea. I just assumed it would be Hogan because Hogan won everything back then. So I just assumed, because in my heart, I wanted Rowdy Piper to win, but I knew that wasn't going to happen.
For the win.
Yeah, because he never got to hold the title, but I just assumed it would be Hogan because, you know, he was just everywhere in the title picture back then.
Yeah. What we haven't made mention of so far in the show, and we should have because it's sprinkled out throughout it before it even gets to this point, is Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary the whole pay-per-view talking about to Gorilla Monsoon. Can I go to the back? Can I go to the back? I want to know what number Ric Flair is. He's like, do you need a drink, Gorilla? Do you need a drink? I can go to the back and go check real quick. He told Gorilla Monsoon he knew how Gorilla Monsoon liked his hot dogs. He would go get him a hot dog. And Gorilla like, will you stop?
Bobby Heenan was amazing.
Yelling at Bobby the Brain's assistant. Then when Ric Flair comes out at number 3, how Bobby the Brain reacts, like, oh, you know, and even Gorilla telling him, you know, oh, well, that's it. Your guy's not going to win. Because, once again, the guys early in the match didn't win it. Nowadays, we've already seen number 1 or number 2 get to the end. I think last year, the 2023 Rumble, both Gunther was started and almost won it. Cody eliminated him, but was it Rhea went from coast to coast?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's overplayed nowadays to the point, like, I wish they would get back, go a few years without it so that when someone does it again, it's special. Sorry, we just got a call, so I'm trying to make sure everything's good.
There's Bulldog came out number 1, right? British Bulldog.
Yes.
Genius move. Get your crowd favorite. Get your early crowd favorite. So Bulldog comes out number 1, followed by $1 Million Man. Let me pull this up because Wikipedia does have a listing of who comes
wrote
out.
it.
I know you have it, but I have the eliminations here.
So that's one of the things that tripped me out is how fast $1 Million Man was eliminated.
I think he had injuries at this point. I think he was
really?
in trouble,
Okay.
and that's another reason why they started putting him in a tag team with IRS. So they kind of,
because I was like, man, Ted DiBiase was going in seconds, and Repo Man was in it for like 20 minutes or something. I was like, what happened here?
For bringing that up.
Thank you for mentioning Repo Man.
Because was it the beginning when they started doing? Yeah, it was the beginning when the Royal Rumble starts. Everybody's doing their little promo. About winning the Royal Rumble.
Before the Royal Rumble, they used to do this back in the day. It was awesome, but everybody would talk before it, like, oh, so it was Macho Man talks. He's going to win the Royal Rumble. He's talking about how he's going to go after Jake the Snake. Next up is Sid Justice, another favorite. Oh, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be me. I'm going to eliminate everybody. Then the next guy up.
No. It's Jake the Snake. Then it's Jake the Snake, and we all know how Jake does promos. You know what I mean? They're very like calm, and you're like, you got to really listen to him. And then you hit
Repo Man. Like. You went from Savage to Sid to Jake to Repo Man.
Yeah.
Then after Repo Man, it's Flair and Hogan. One of these things does not belong.
For real.
One of these things does not belong. Now, granted, Repo Man being one half of the greatest tag team or one of the greatest tag teams of Demolition, being Smash from Demolition, looking back, oh yeah, he's a legend, But one of these things does not belong, though.
That character was just.
He cuts the promo because Repo Man is whispering because he doesn't want anybody to know he's there to repossess your stuff, and he's whispering this promo, and it's so terrible. I don't understand. I don't know if they were pulling a rib on somebody,
or he made somebody mad.
Who else? You could have interviewed so many other guys. You could. And it's Repo Man.
Let's see. They could have gotten Tito.
I think they talked
Santana.
I think they talked to Undertaker, but maybe that was earlier because they do talk to Shawn Michaels. It may be earlier too.
Yes, they did. They could have talked to the Iron Sheik, but he was under a different.
It was Colonel Mustafa at that time.
I don't think they talked to Martel.
They could have talked to Slaughter, who's a former world champion.
Warlord. I didn't see a promo or a little.
But they talked. To Repo Man, and just funny that you point that out.
And not only no, we're not there yet. We're not there. It's later on. I'm getting ahead.
And it's funny that you pointed out because Repo Man. Let me see. I've got his time in here. It says he lasted 6 minutes and 23 seconds, but like you said, Ted DiBiase lasted 1 minute and 18 seconds. I do think he was injured, but this was a genius move to bring out the British Bulldog, who's a huge crowd favorite. Bring out the $1 Million Man who's hated, and you have Bulldog eliminate him pretty quick. The crowd is fired up. I mean, the crowd was already a good crowd, but you got them fired up for this match. Then Ric Flair comes, and this whole match, this whole Royal Rumble is built about Ric Flair, and it's done so well. It's like I was telling LadyPrime before we went live. The Royal Rumble is basically, this Royal Rumble is structured, it's in 2 segments. Dante's Game Room. What's up, Dante? We're just talking wrestling here, brother. I got to get you on one day to talk wrestling as well. Dante's Game Room, comic book fan, artist, and professional wrestler. So
really?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Dante says Repo Man reminded him of the Hamburglar.
Yes, he does give that vibe. Very much so.
But this Royal Rumble is done in 2 segments, and it's like you have your lower tier guys at the first half. It's guys like Shawn Michaels, Barbarian, Haku. Oh, Russ froze. Hopefully it comes back. Well, or were you just standing still that long? Because
I was adjusting the volume on my headset.
Oh, got you. I thought you froze. You were so still.
Sometimes the left speaker will cut out, and I have to adjust it to get sound back in both ears.
Gotcha. But it's like this Royal Rumble is done in 2 segments. You got like Act 1 and Act 2, and Act 3 takes place after the match ends. But the first half is like your lower card guys, and not that there's not some star power. They had Bulldog there. They had Sean there. Let me see. I can go through a list right now. It's for the first half is Bulldog, Ted, which was already eliminated, Jerry Sags, Haku, Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana. Shout out to Tito. Looks like my dad. The Barbarian, Texas Tornado, Repo Man, Greg Valentine, Nikolai Volkov, Bossman, and Hercules. So those those first 14 entrants are like its own half of the story, because it ends, and I say the first half ends where Ric Flair eliminates Bossman. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's this pause. Of course, Bobby the Brain Heenan is like, Flair won. He's the last one. He's the last one there. But that ends, and then you transition to the back half of it where Roddy Piper comes out. And Roddy Piper had already had some issues with Flair. So then it's like you've got guys like Roddy Piper, Undertaker, Hogan, Sid Justice, Macho Man, Jake the Snake. So it's like the second half is your bigger star. So it's told really, really well.
And even Martel.
I love Rick Martel, former world champion, AWA world champion. But it's told really well, that the 2 different halves of the story. It's really, really good. But Ric Flair being the centerpiece of this match works so well because he's had so many interactions, past and present, with so many of the guys he interacts with in the Royal Rumble. So let's see. I can go through the list. Bulldog Ted. Okay, so let's see. Shawn Michaels. There was a house show a few months. I want to say it was in November because Undertaker was the world champion at the time in Corpus Christi. I didn't get to go to this house show. My cousin did. Shawn Michaels wrestled Ric Flair at this house show. Good match. My cousin talked about it being a great match. It's on the Invasion tape, which I had the Coliseum videotape Invasion. It's on Peacock. You can find Invasion. I think it's Invasion 92. Flair has a match with Shawn Michaels on there. Good match. Shawn Michaels is still a member of the Rockers. All right, Wellbore. Have a good one. Appreciate you.
Later, bro.
Have a good one, man. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair have a match. Shawn Michaels is almost going to get counted. Marty Jannetty throws Shawn Michaels back into the ring. Ric Flair pins Shawn Michaels. Part of the tension between Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels begins there, or it's already going on. So it's in the midst of the breakup. So just another layer of that dynamic where Marty and Shawn had tension between them to, cut to Shawn kicking Marty throwing Marty through the barbershop window. Cut to 2008 when Shawn Michaels has Ric Flair's retirement match with Shawn Michaels Shawn Michaels has Ric Flair's retirement match at WrestleMania 24.
He says, "I'm sorry. Love you."
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I love you. Yeah, when he gives him that super gift.
That's what I'm going to do to you.
So then let's see. That's Shawn Michaels. He had his interactions with the Texas Tornado, who he had an NWA World Title match with in previous years. Yeah,
just that whole history, the Von Erichs and Flair.
You have Ric Flair interacting with Greg Valentine, who I'm not the biggest Greg Valentine fan. I have no, I think his matches were.
He looks like McGee.
There's nothing. Yeah.
What do they say? They always make fun of him. He looks
Greg Valentine looked like a female PE teacher back in the day when we were in school.
Yeah, but he just like.
But just the fact that you had 2 old school guys going at it.
Yeah.
Hercules, Bossman. So it's like he had interactions with all these guys. It's great. Then you cut to the latter half, which is Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake, Jim Duggan, Savage, who he's going to have a feud with, Martel, Hogan, Justice, Warlord. So Flair has interactions with all these guys, and it's just great that you could build this Royal Rumble, this story, on the back of one guy, and it's great. It's so good, and I think it's one thing missing from the Royal Rumbles now, because now they have all the athleticism, they have all kinds of moves.
Because you're always trying to see who's going to have the coolest spot, who's going to do
guy.
who's gonna do the high spot or something like that.
You're waiting for
shocking.
Kofi's crazy save. But they told a story in this Royal Rumble, and everybody wanting to see Ric Flair get eliminated because you're not the real world champion. That's the WCW title. You're not. That's the NWA title. I'm sorry. Yeah, the NWA title. The WF title. That's the real world champion. You're not the real world champion. So everybody wants to see him lose, and he's just telling the story throughout this Royal Rumble of just hanging on just enough. He's almost going to go over the rope. Oh, I think Bobby the Brain Heenan in the commentary says that's the 14th backdrop that Ric Flair's taken tonight.
Yeah.
Because Flair is taking a beating the whole time.
I mean, now I understand why he drank all the time. I mean, I get it.
At the time, I hadn't seen many Ric Flair matches because I was a WWF guy. We didn't really get WCW access until later on in my life. But that would be the first time I saw Ric Flair do that walk and then fall on his face.
Oh, the Flair flop.
Yeah, it used to bug me.
Cody, what's up,
But
Texas brother?
then it would add it. I don't know. After a while, you're like, when you see it, you know what's coming. Like, you know it's gonna get even better. The match, you know what I mean?
It's the charm of Ric Flair.
Yes.
Now I will say this. I don't, and I've said now I will say this like 14 times myself, but I don't think the chop was utilized that often in the WWF before Ric Flair got there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 95%.
Yeah, I think he made it famous. Yeah.
I think there were so many guys that were upset about the chop.
Like, you see their
them,
faces.
Yes, they're taking the chop, and then you see when they reverse it, and they try to give Ric Flair the same kind of chop.
I dislike the chop now.
It's too many people's go-to.
It's everybody's go-to. And if I know he loves him, but I cannot. Look up Eddie Kingston.
Oh, the Eddie Kingston chops.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that. Like, I love Eddie on the mic, but get rid of that from your repertoire, Eddie. It looks terrible.
It just, like, he's supposed, like, tell me you're a tough guy, but that's not a tough guy thing. I mean, like,
Cody hated Ric Flair as a kid. He was so good at being the heel. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like Flair either as a kid. Like, the first match I ever saw was Sting versus Ric Flair, and I became a Sting fan. I didn't like Flair. So,
let's see. Bulldog lasts for 23 minutes. Ted, we talked about 1 minute and 18 seconds. Jerry Sags 1 minute and 6 seconds. So once again, the Bulldog with a quick clothesline. You just get the crowd into it. Haku would come in there. He would be the third guy eliminated, right? Yeah. Bulldog closing him out again. He's 1 minute and 51 seconds. Shawn Michaels coming in at number 6, 15 minutes and 46 seconds, which this is the beginning of Shawn Michaels as a singles wrestler. This is his first pay-per-view as a singles wrestler. Tito Santana would come in after him. He would last for 13 minutes and 55 seconds. Tito and Shawn would eliminate each other. They would go on to have a match. They would go on to have the opening match at WrestleMania 8. So Shawn would go on a 3 WrestleMania run of having an opening match. He would be with the Rockers at WrestleMania 7 in a tag team match against Haku and Barbarian. WrestleMania 8, he would open the show with Tito. And then WrestleMania 9, he would open the show with Tatanka. So
you said WrestleMania 8?
Oh.
He did.
Yes.
Right here.
And I remember the WrestleMania 8 opening match because Reba McEntire would sing either the national anthem or America the Beautiful. I don't remember what she sang, but Tito Santana is the first wrestler that comes out and he greets her. You know, they bow to each other. And Bobby the Brain Heenan says that, oh, look, it's Tito saying hi to his sister. That's his sister, right? And, you know, Gorilla Monsoon's like, what? He's like, yeah, her name's Arriba, right? Arriba.
Bobby the Brain was a trip, man.
And then another wrestler underrated, Tito. Now, I'm not just saying that because he looks like my father-in-law, but no, really, like it was that match, and then was it the first WrestleMania? Tito opened. Yeah,
Tito Santana was in the very first WrestleMania match against the Executioner.
Yeah.
So, Cody says Mr. WrestleMania, and he's talking about Tito Santana right now. Tito Santana was in the first 9 WrestleManias with Hulk Hogan.
He was. And what was another one? I gotta look at my notes.
Let me go through. Let's see.
Notebook. Tito and was it the Barbarian on WrestleMania 6?
The Barbarian? Yes, WrestleMania 6. He wrestled, I think it was the Warlord, but it may have been the Barbarian. The Barbarian comes in at number 8 after Tito Santana. Last 12 minutes and 55 seconds. Texas Tornado comes in at number 9. Which Kerry Von Erich, man, it's so sad that he just couldn't get it all together. And I understand there's like so many layers to that. Issues with the family, deaths already. It's just so sad because Kerry Von Erich was a stud, man. He's a star. And to know he did that all on one foot, like, it's crazy. So good in the ring.
He was.
So moving so fluid. Good look.
He did.
Stud.
Still have not seen the Iron Claw.
Yeah, we'll check that out soon.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
I've seen the Dark Side of the Ring. Every time I like hear that story and I hear his brother talking about his brothers, like he had brothers and now he no longer has any. What was it? I think because he has 2 boys, and I think it made him sad because he no longer has that bond of having a sibling. I'm just like, oh man. Now I feel bad because I have siblings and I know how awesome it is. I can only speak for me. I get along with my siblings. We get really well, and Ollie's the only child, so I'm like, man, we're kind of like not giving him that.
Robin likes Tito Santana.
Take it outside, Walker.
Ric Flair's chest looked weird, is what Robin says. Like Tom Cruise's chest is just weird looking.
You should have seen him in his later WCW matches.
No, when he
used to have that knot on his back. I don't know if y'all remember that.
No.
For the longest time, he used to have this knot on his back. It's crazy.
No, when he was with Evolution and his chest was starting to like,
Oh yeah.
Man chest, like, and then he's like super tan and his skin looks like leather.
Repo Man would enter number 10. 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Greg Valentine at number 11 for 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Would be eliminated by Repo Man. It's crazy. Nikolai Volkov would be eliminated. He was the 12th entrance. He would be the 4th elimination, also by Repo Man. So Repo Man must have been getting this push that I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It felt like he was in it for longer, though. Like, I don't know.
Oh, man.
He was taking away their chance. Their opportunity.
That's what he said in his promo. He said that this was going to be the highlight of his career because he was going to take the world title opportunity from 29 people tonight.
Oh, that's good.
He's used to taking things.
And then he didn't even say he was going to win it. He just wanted to take the opportunity.
He didn't care about winning. He just wanted to take things from people.
Oh, that's so good. I did not.
So, like Callie Jordan Spot said, Repo was getting a push. I don't remember this, but
it's a shame Repo Man never got to team up with R-Truth and create a tag team.
That would have been something.
Let's see. Neil says, I think I remember Repo Man, but I can't picture him because when he took your car, you didn't see him. He took it without you seeing it.
And he was like this. When he came out to the ring, did you see, like, he looked back. He looked back first before looking.
It's like slowly going to the ring.
That's Barry Darso. Like, shout out to Barry Darso for like fully getting invested in that character. I don't know what Vince promised him. Like,
oh god,
like Vince just was like, yeah, do this character, do this, but it was like it was just for something for Vince's like sinister humor that we all know he has. You know what I mean? Just be like, ha, 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 like
every gimmick had to be just like this weird job, like Isaac Yankem or whatever.
Now, did his outfit have the tire track like on top of it?
I think it did. As I was looking at it, I was like, why? What's wrong with his gear? Wait.
David said, wait, we know what Vince promised him.
I'm sure it was in the emails or the text messages.
Let's see. Got Greg Valentine and Nikolai Volkov both being eliminated. Boss Man comes to the ring, and when he gets in there, he's like 1,000 miles per hour, like and so much faster than everybody else.
Big guy too.
One of the most over guys in the Royal Rumble at that point, or just in the WWF at that point.
That was
3
before
minutes and 38
he took the
seconds.
Chihuahua.
And you know, it's crazy. It's like I know Boss Man was around, but when I got to know him, he was still the Boss Man.
See, he was Boss Man then.
Oh,
back then he was big Boss Man.
Okay, because he was bigger, and then when I started watching, he was already in the black, police.
Oh yeah,
gear.
the Attitude Era, like SWAT looking gear.
Yeah, he was a security guard.
There you go. Yeah.
He wasn't a prison guard anymore. Let's see. Boss Man would come in 13, last 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Hercules would come in 14 and last 56 seconds. So he got dressed up for all that for 56 seconds. So those are the first 14 entrants. And like I said, that's the first half of the match, and it kind of segues into the second half when Ric Flair eliminates Boss Man. He's in the ring by himself. They let the ring build up with a few guys, and it's like everybody gets eliminated. So here's Flair. And then it starts the second half, which 15th, Roddy Piper enters, lasts for 34 minutes. Jake the Snake comes in at 16, lasts for 10 minutes. Jim Duggan, 17 for 20 minutes. Who needs Duggan in their life for 20 minutes? But yeah, there you go. IRS would come in 18, last for 27 minutes. Jimmy Snuka at 19 for 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Number 20, The Undertaker. And they didn't mention this at the show, but I can remember watching the shows leading up to it, that because the title situation between Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, and that's when the title was stripped, was between them two, Jack Tunney would say that Hogan and Undertaker would enter in the last few spots. They would enter from 20 to 30. And so that's why Undertaker comes out last. Well, not comes out last, but comes out here at the end. They didn't mention it there in the commentary, but that was part of the build up to the show. Undertaker 13 minutes and 51 seconds. Randy Savage at number 21 for 22 minutes and 26 seconds. Although after he eliminated Jake the Snake, he eliminated himself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was Randy Savage was just like full on. Like I don't know, man. Like
that role later on, right?
No, that role was in.
I don't want to say like cocaine fueled, but Savage was just out there, man.
No, but if you watch the Royal Rumble, when he comes out, he's running full speed. Like
he was just like
probably was already like winded and just for like.
Jake the Snake disrespected his wife when they got married at SummerSlam 1990. It was the match made in heaven. Jake the Snake gave Macho Man's wife a snake as a present. This is the first time he's going to get his head.
It was so fun. Like
in Texas,
Taker had to get out of the ring and drag Savage back in, and then Savage had to get out again.
But Savage jumped over the top rope, eliminated himself. You hear Bobby and Gorilla talk about that Savage is eliminated. He's eliminated. But because it's the WWF, get back in there and wrestle this match. We didn't see
it's like he has to be thrown out. It don't count if you just get out yourself or something.
Yeah,
that was such a fun, like crazy moment, man.
Cut to 1997, Mil Mascaras would do the same thing from jumping from the top rope to the outside.
He would.
and he would be eliminated. Dave, take care. Have a good one. Appreciate you being here and hanging out and talking wrestling with us.
Easy, man.
I gotta have Dave on at some point too, so we need to connect, Dave. Nightwing McBain says, "Was Boss Man the original Shield member?"
It was a ripoff.
New Collect says IRS was pretty good. I never had respect for IRS at the time. Looking back now, though, you see what a solid worker he was. What I don't want to say a good hand. What a heel he was, because just that character. And especially now that I pay taxes, he's the biggest heel.
Now he's scared that he's gonna come knocking.
I'm gonna get an audit. Let's see who else came in and out. Let's see.
Undertaker, Macho Man, and then we got Berserker.
The Berserker. I was never a fan of the Berserker. What did you think about the Berserker, Russ?
Oh man, I really didn't even remember him much. So it was just like afterthought, I guess. I was like, who's that?
Yeah, I even had to ask Fanboy Prime. I was like, who is that? Like, I was
just
thinking,
like, oh, that's John Nord, the Berserker. They called him the Viking at some point.
That's what I thought. That I was like, is that the Viking? Because, his gear, that's what it was giving me.
They called him that a few times. It's funny because, like, the Berserker, like, his character was silly to me. But like, I was fine with the Barbarian. The Barbarian was like so good in the ring. He was just a legit tough guy. I'm not saying Berserker's not a tough guy. It's just the gimmick didn't get over with me. I just saw it as silly.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it. He's the first guy I saw come to the ring with a sword, and I didn't like it. I'm so glad they got the sword away from Drew McIntyre. I thought that was dumb. I hated the sword with Drew McIntyre. I did not like it. And shout out to Drew McIntyre, like being so good now, like being allowed to just be just
a heel, like
to be such a good heel. He's like so good on the mic too.
And then bring back his first theme song, and then him be a heel.
And then you'd be like perfect.
Be perfect.
Let's see, Berserker.
Then Virgil would come out.
Oh, Berserker lasts 9 minutes. Virgil would last 7.5 minutes. It's crazy that you go to 1991 Royal Rumble. It's when Ted DiBiase and Virgil wrestled Dusty and Dustin Rhodes. That match ends with Ted DiBiase and Virgil winning. But this is where the breaking apart of Virgil and $1 Million Man takes place, where Virgil won't pick up the money and he punches $1 Million Man. They go on, have a match at WrestleMania 7. Virgil is one of the most over guys on the roster. Cut to some months later, and they didn't know what to do with him anymore. And
they didn't know what to do other than just keep him with Ted, like do a storyline with Ted.
Yeah, it's like he needed that crutch with Ted. But still, they gave Virgil, what did I say?
And that would hurt him on later in life too?
Yes, it would. They gave Virgil 7.5 minutes. And so in here, as I was going through the listings, this was earlier today when I was looking at it, at number 17, Jim Duggan came in. He was eliminated 19th, and it says Virgil eliminated him. And I'm like, what? Virgil eliminated somebody? But Virgil and Jim Duggan eliminated each other. So they get the credit for eliminating these. They get one elimination each. Colonel Mustafa would come in at number 24, last for 2 minutes and 36 seconds. He's an Iron Sheik. Number 25 would be Rick Martel for 12 minutes and 39 seconds. And they make mention, and I don't know if it was the 1990 Royal Rumble or the 91. I think it was 91, that Rick Martel was the Iron Man in the 91 Royal Rumble. In fact, at this point, he has the record of 52 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mentioned it, I think, early on in the Royal Rumble, before the actual Royal Rumble. And then they mentioned it during.
Shout or flashback to Callie and Jordan Squad David talking about anybody could be a member of the NWO. Virgil was a member of the NWO. And also a member of the West Texas Rednecks, wasn't he?
Was that
Rap is Crap?
Henning,
Kurt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig, and who else was in there? I want to say Jeff
Barry Windham and the Barry Windham's brother. Kendall, I think. Kendall. All right.
Then after Martel comes in, we had
Hulk Hogan comes in. 11 minutes and 29 seconds. Skinner at number 27, which never been a Skinner fan. Skinner, one in a million. Skinner would wrestle at WrestleMania 8 against Owen Hart in a squash match.
Then we got
Sergeant Slaughter. 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Eliminated by Sid Justice.
When Sarge hit the ring, it's like the only thing I kept hearing in my mind was like the old G.I. Joe cartoon theme song. So that's all Sergeant Slaughter. That's like the first thing that popped in my mind.
Sid Justice, number 29, lasts for 5 minutes and 55 seconds. And then the Warlord, number 30, minute and 34 seconds. I'm sorry, minute and 43 seconds. He would be eliminated by Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice. Your final four would be Ric Flair, Sid Justice, Hulk Hogan, and Macho Man. That's a pretty star-studded final four. All former WWF champions. Between the four of them, there would be 12 WWF title reigns. 2 for Flair, 2 for Savage, 2 for Sid, and then 6 for Hogan. So pretty star-studded. Maybe the greatest Final Four in Royal Rumble history. What did you think?
Yeah, man. I didn't know going into it that Ric Flair was going to win, so I just assumed, well, it's going to be a Hogan win because that's Hogan. And then when he got thrown out by Sid, I was like, that like shocked me. I was like, wow, man, I can't believe that happened.
Oh,
And then
man.
Hogan being Hogan grabbed Sid's arm and pulled him out. And I'm like, man, like knowing what I know now, I'm like, that had to have been like Hogan backstage politics. That's not going to work for me, brother. You know.
So, for the long time people who watched Hulk Hogan, this was not anything new. Hogan was a dirty cheat because when Hulk Hogan comes to the ring, he's wearing my least favorite Hulk Hogan shirt. It's got the flag in it. It was not nearly as cool as his Hulkamania shirt or his Hulk Rules shirt. He uses that shirt when attacking Martel. I think he chokes Martel with it, flips Martel around, throws him around with the shirt around his neck. Hogan, all kinds of dirty.
Hogan was a heel the whole time, man. It didn't happen in NWO. He was a heel the whole time.
If you followed Hulk Hogan, you were not shocked when he leg dropped Randy Savage and joined the NWO. It was Hogan finally being Hogan. It was just Hogan being Hogan. That snake was revealed. There was nothing that Hulk Hogan wouldn't do back in the day.
For real.
One of his signature moves was raking his nails into the back.
Yeah.
Hogan was.
But as a kid, I loved Hogan as a kid. But now, like every time I see Hogan in a match, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, he's gonna win. Like it's over.
And Hogan, I mean, Sid even says it. It's every man for himself, big boy. So one of the stories that's told is that when Sid eliminates Hogan, the place blew up. And in replays of it, they had to edit the cheers down.
Yeah.
And it's not as loud because Hogan got a Hogan at the end of WrestleMania. You know, Hogan's going to be the face. I don't know. I never saw it live. That's what's said. That when Sid eliminated Hogan, the crowd went crazy. And but you see, dude, Hulk Hogan was always a heel.
Yeah. Even back then, people wanted something different besides Hogan.
Well, you know, there's also talk that at one point on the Snake Pit, Jake Roberts' little segment that he used to host and interview people, that he DDT'd Hogan at one point and the crowd went crazy. And it never aired. They had to not air that because that couldn't work. That wasn't going to work for TV. I think Jake talks about it on his DVD. Let's see. Kelly and George Squad, they made Hogan go up against the big guys, and Hogan had to do heel things, but he was so over. Yeah.
It's like I said, when I was a kid, I was all about it, man. I loved Hogan when I was a kid until that leg drop on Savage. And it's like, Undertaker in this, lad, like Undertaker, like that early Undertaker used to terrify me when I was little because I was like, I thought he was really this supernatural dead man. So I was terrified of him when I was little, man.
The clips of kids crying as he came to the ring is so awesome. Did you have to watch when Undertaker was on screen, kind of with your head down, looking up?
Yeah, I know when he first come out and he had like the gray gloves and stuff and would like just stare at people. I was like, I could feel like goosebumps, like checking behind me, making sure he wasn't there, man. And it's crazy because I was like, 93, I would have been 13 at the time.
Neil says the OG Undertaker was the best.
Yeah.
I agree. I get why he went away from, the gray gloves and the gray things on his boots, but man, he should have wore it at least one time again towards his tail end of his run.
Yeah, the classic. Yeah.
It's like an homage.
Yeah, such an iconic boot.
That's the word I remember what I was trying to say. Pretentious.
Pretentious.
One of my favorite looks, man, for Undertaker, I think was 96 when he was fighting Austin at SummerSlam, I want to say.
Yeah.
That was some cool ring gear. Yeah.
90. Yeah. I didn't understand it when Taker went to purple. I get it now. You got to evolve your look.
Yeah.
And then he reverted back to gray for the WrestleMania 13. I think it was, like special. Let me do that. Robin is here, but I'm
when
trying to.
he had to wear like the half mask, I think, when he had his orbital bone crushed or something. Like
Yeah.
the
Maybe.
Phantom of the Opera mask. Yeah.
We didn't get that Mattel Elite, did we?
No.
I should have gotten it. Yeah, we should have gotten it.
Mhm.
This was Sid's match to win, and because he eliminates Savage,
Yeah.
he sees
When Hogan went, I thought, man, is Sid gonna win this? And then Hogan said, "No, brother."
Sid tells him, every man for himself, big boy. Hogan grabs his arm, and Ric Flair takes advantage of the opportunity. And
Yeah.
In the feud between Sid and Hogan, Sid should not have been the heel. He should have been the face. He should have been the face.
For
And
real.
they even say that Sid apologized to Hogan for it. And then they team up. I think it's a Saturday night's main event. They team up. It's Sid and Hogan versus Undertaker and Ric Flair. And that's where Sid abandons Hogan. And so this is where he completes the heel turn. But yes, Sid should have won. And it's a shame.
Yeah.
But then things really go. It's great because they don't end the pay-per-view there. You know how they used to end it with the guy celebrating in the ring.
Amen.
We see the Hogan and Sid separation, but you get the Flair, the Flair, Perfect, and Heenan promo at the end, the promo at the back, and he just
yes. But did you see when that promo was going on? Mean Gene tells some guy, "Put that cigarette out."
No, that
yes.
was that pay-per-view.
Yes, it was.
No way. What
That
happened?
was at the very end. He said, "Hey, put that cigarette out." And then Flair, they all look down, and then Flair keeps on going with the.
I gotta rewind. I didn't see that.
I can't believe you missed that.
That's so good.
That's when it happened.
I've seen that clip, but I don't remember that.
It was that Rumble, and I was like, "This is it."
Oh, but then Ric Flair cuts one of the greatest promos. With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest day of my life, and to be the man, and to hold that belt, which is the greatest belt in all of wrestling. He just cuts a great promo, and just put in an hour's worth of work. I mean, if Vince was afraid that crowds or that people wouldn't take Ric Flair as a legitimate world champion, having him enter number 3 in the Royal Rumble and winning it was definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
And the star of this pay-per-view, Ric Flair, what he did in the ring, like I said, he had interactions with everybody. He gives Barbarian a high five and then turns around and chops him.
That was a great moment.
But if Ric Flair, if you have 1A, 1B for the star of the show is Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary. This is the night.
Humanoid.
This is the night of his life. Just selling the fact that Ric Flair has the opportunity
vicariously through Ric Flair.
Ric Flair has the opportunity to win this Royal Rumble. Then he enters number 3, and his world is just coming crashing down. So I looked up this article, and it's just talking about, the name of the article is Reliving Bobby the Brain's Best Moments from the 1992 Royal Rumble. And, it talks about how the pay-per-view begins, that Bobby the Brain looks nervous while Gorilla is telling them about the crowd and that it's deafening. And Bobby the Brain's first words that night, "I'm still banking everything on Ric Flair coming out as WWF World Champion." But he looks nervous. Let's see. I'll tell you, my hands are sweating. I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous because I know in a few short minutes when Ric Flair walks down that aisle, he's going to come back with the gold. But Brain still isn't sure what number he is. Is it possible for me to leave here to find out what number Ric Flair is? And then Gorilla arguing with him.
Heenan must have had money on that match.
Gorilla tells Brain he's being paranoid. Then Brain shifts to just wanting to get Monsoon a diet drink, a popcorn, anything, and he gives his word that he gives his word that he's not trying to go to the back to find out what number Ric Flair has. I know.
I wish they would have let him, and then he comes back, and then Monsoon would be like, "Where's my Diet Coke and my hot dog?" Oh. They didn't have any.
He tells Gorilla, I know just how you like your hot dogs, extra bun. In the middle of the match, when Piper saves Flair, He's like, "Oh, Piper, I'm so happy. Thank you. It's a skirt. I mean, it's a kilt, not a skirt. It's a kilt, not a skirt." Cut to later on, Piper. Like seconds later, Piper turns on Flair. "Oh, well, you no good, lousy. It's a skirt. It's not a kilt. It's a skirt. It's not a kilt." Yeah, he would tell when Barbarian enters, Heenan claims he doesn't like anyone. He barely liked me when I managed him. So it's just so good. When Monsoon reminds Bobby that numbers 1 through 5 have never been there at the end, the Brain tells him, shut up. He just doesn't want to hear it.
That's who Fanboy would be commentating. He would be very much like Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Davey Boy Smith gets eliminated by Flair. Heenan pleads for his guy. Get away from that country hick, talking about Big Boss Man. Just he's going on and on throughout this whole thing. It's so good. Yes. Bobby the Brain and Ric Flair stole the show for the 1992 Royal Rumble. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's your butt. Russ, I got to tell you, I did not know that you had never watched this Royal Rumble. It's so awesome that you didn't know. So you're basically watching it with new eyes.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And it's still real to you.
And you got to experience the show for the first time. I think that's awesome. I think it's just spectacular.
Yeah, after they were like building up Piper, like saying how nobody's ever had this chance and the world title at the same night or something, I was like, but I know Piper's never held a world championship, but in my heart I was like, can Piper win it?
That's good. That's good. Man, knowing that, I feel like the only other mistake they made is Piper should have been there at the end. But your two main events for WrestleMania 8 were going to be Hogan, Sid, and Savage Flair. So those are your last four. But it would have been cool, like if you would have kept Piper in there for a little bit longer, just to tease it. Callie and Jordan Squad says, what year does Hogan and Bobby go to WCW? 1994. That's when Hogan arrived. Bobby may have been there tail end of 93, but if not, I know Bobby was there before Hogan got there in 94 in WCW. So this was pretty much their last hurrah. I know Hogan would return for WrestleMania 9, but Hogan's going to be here at the Royal Rumble and go into WrestleMania 8, and then they're going to have the semi-retirement for Hogan. I don't think they knew it was, but he definitely was going to take time off. And so the tail end of 92 from WrestleMania on is a Hogan-less WWF, which is the first time for almost a decade at that point.
Yeah.
This Royal Rumble is called the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. What do you think?
Even greater than the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I'll say this Royal Rumble match. I don't know where they rate the whole pay-per-view, but they say this Royal Rumble match was the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time. What do you think about that?
Oh, man. I don't know if I'd call it the greatest of all time, but it was a fun watch, man. I really enjoyed checking it out. That's one that I would probably go back and watch again. Just the Rumble match.
So, like I said, nowadays they've got so much athleticism and so much can happen, and there's so many things like moves that happen and so many spectacular eliminations.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have the story that this one had.
And I think now the Royal Rumbles then versus now, like we know that they have to hit their spots and everything's being timed. You can tell. Yeah. Like you see it now versus like watching old Royal Rumbles.
It's formulaic now. There's a formula for it, and we've seen so much of the formulas take place that we can see the spots coming ahead of time.
Yeah.
Versus this,
like I remember when Kofi first started botching his spots, I was like, man, the run is over for Kofi.
Yeah.
And then there's always the one guy that's holding on to the ropes, like at the bottom, like holding on to it.
Well, Callie and Jordan Squad says story-wise, I think this one was the one.
And then now, I don't know what the difference is now, but you can see where the guy's just resting. They're not doing anything. They're still in the Royal Rumble, but they're not.
Well, see, I don't mind the resting because you gotta you can play it off as they're being smart. But on here, Flair was walking. There was a point where there's three in the ring, and two of them. I think it's Piper giving somebody. Or was it Jake? Piper's giving Flair a sleeper hold, and Jake just sits in the corner. because Jake's a snake. He's not going to get him right away. He's going to wait.
That
but
was
even
a cool
then,
moment.
Claire would like step back, and so like it's not the worst thing when they rest.
Maybe it's how they're filming it. Because I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like it would be smart to not like waste all your energy. But I guess maybe they try to get the whole picture, like the way they film it. So then you see all these guys like barely hitting, barely like it's just being kind of like
nowadays
sloppy.
We're talking about
Nowadays versus when you're watching this Royal Rumble, like I didn't see any like half-fast like punches or anything like that.
They worked a little tighter.
Yeah.
Neil said,
my strategy, man.
What's that?
Go ahead. My strategy would just be I'd hide under the ring until it got to the final two, and then come and eliminate them both when they were trying
to and talk commentary on the pay-per-view like he did in '99. Yeah. Neil says, "Do you all like UFC and boxing?"
I do. Now, do I go out of my way to watch it? No, but when I will watch a match and I sit there and I'm like I will watch it and talk about the holding and all that stuff. Like I'm not the.
You're not a diehard fan?
I'm not a diehard fan. Like I know enough.
I think I prefer boxing to UFC. I like the sweet science. But same thing. I'm not a diehard boxing or UFC fan. But you see me when I watch boxing. I'm
like he's like
I really am. I'm like, oh my god.
Me, I need the whole show. I need the outfit. I need the lights and the gimmick and give me the story.
Which is why you go to wrestling.
Yeah, that's why.
As far as Royal Rumbles that told stories, the only other one I can think is the 1999 Royal Rumble, where Stone Cold enters 1, Vince enters 2, or vice versa. I think it's Stone Cold's 1 and Vince is 2. And they play out that story throughout the whole Royal Rumble match, where Vince is going to pay whoever eliminates Steve to win it. Then you have Vince winning the Royal Rumble. I'm sorry, Russ, if I spoiled that one for you.
Oh no, I've seen that one.
You have Vince winning the Royal Rumble at the end. You have the story going on throughout it, but I still don't think it's as good as this Royal Rumble. And once again,
having the belt on the line added a lot to it as story wise.
But once again, I go with David, Callie and Jordan squad. Story-wise, I think this is the one. When I think of my favorite Royal Rumbles, I go to 2007. It's a Royal Rumble I went to, and I think it has the best ending because it ends with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, and they go at it for so long. And San Antonio crowd is cheering for Shawn, but there's also the diehard Undertaker fans. So I go to that one. I go to the 2004 one where Chris Benoit runs the table. That's always been a favorite. 96 has been a favorite for me. And I'm trying to think of which one of the newer ones. Is there a newer one that I really liked? I don't know. It's like you kind of said, there's a formula for them now, and it's kind of lost its appeal to me. Like a triple threat match, there's a formula to triple threat matches now, and it kind of lost its appeal to where the early ones I liked before they knew how to present it best for TV.
Yeah. And I think they messed up because they give it the commentators they're giving away the strategy, but they're talking about it, and now you're seeing it. Oh, got the chills. I think sometimes them talking about it versus just letting it play out. You don't have to necessarily say something about it.
I think, like you said, the formula idea you were talking about, because we always know who's going to be the Iron Man this year, who's going to be the young guy that goes the distance. They're not going to go all the way, and sometimes they don't last to the end. But who's going to be the one that this is their opportunity to make a star?
Yeah.
I do wish they would not have taken Kane's record away for the most eliminations in one Royal Rumble. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe the 2000.
I really back before they left, Dolph Ziggler and Jericho were always super workhorses in the Rumble, man. Before they left, they always had pretty big standout moments.
Wait, did he say something nice about Jericho? You said something nice about Jericho? I need you to
I take it back.
Callie and Jordan Squad brings up a good point. They have to change the formula. I hope that they do that now with Triple H in charge. I think it's a good possibility. I think.
And just certain things like, you know how they would get after a while when you're about to do a move off the top rope, they didn't want them pulling the opponent closer. They got rid of that. They didn't let them move him. Do you remember that?
I don't.
You don't? After a while, because if you look back in like the 90, I'm going to say 95 to 2000.
So they would tell the wrestler just roll over to there.
Just like, yeah,
I hate when they do that.
I don't like that. I understand, like, if you're going to fight someone, you're not going to wait for them. You're going to do what you need to do to, you know, put them in whatever position or whatever damage you're going to do, you know?
Yeah.
I think I can see Triple H bringing that back where, like, hey, if you're going to do a moonsault, bring the guy over because then you're going to have a whole Brock Lesnar situation.
Oh, yeah. Shooting star press.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That was rough.
Just like little
Dude
things
tried to
like
do it like Kurt Angle was all the way on the other side of the ring.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know what he was thinking.
You want to go to that corner? You don't want to go to this other one over here?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like those little things matter, especially when you're trying to tell a story in a match. Like, yes, I get telling the story longevity wise, but when you're trying to do the match right then and there, those little subtleties matter because if you watch a film or a movie,
it's all about the details.
Yeah.
It's all about the details. Neil says yes, he's not a UFC fan. He also says boxing is the same as wrestling. He likes the older boxers than what there is now. Russ, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, what do you rate this pay-per-view overall?
I would give the Rumble match, like if I was just judging the Rumble match, I'd have to give it a 5.
That's good. That's good. It's definitely it's held up over time. Like I said, it's 32 years later, and that match still resonates. Can't wait to watch the replay. Second word for the night. Oh man, I'm sorry, DJ. Hang in there, man. Pay-per-view
Like the only thing.
I think it was
Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of brought it down a little bit was that Natural Disasters match.
Yeah. I think the tag team matches were good. Other than the Natural Disasters match, Piper winning the Intercontinental title, they could have stretched that match out a little longer. But then again, it's really impactful him winning the title. Overall, the 1992 Royal Rumble, yeah, dude, like a 4-star show overall. Like you said, the Rumble itself, 5 stars. Yeah. They did not need the other matches. The Rumble is a 5, and nothing could bring it down.
The whole show, everything, I think it was a solid 7.
DJ Y says next Saturday Backlash pay-per-view. Y'all watching? Sorry if I missed. No, we hadn't talked about that yet. Are you be watching the Backlash pay-per-view?
Yeah.
I don't know what time it is because it's in France.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, dang. I didn't know that. It's probably going to be like 5 a.m. or something crazy again.
I got to look that up. I don't know what time the show is.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't know it was in France.
I forgot it was. What was I going to say? Russ. I know we said about doing a list of like the craziest wrestling stories. And I started my list. I still got a lot to go. So we could push that out. But I do have some homework for us. Because I wrote this list. Sorry, I didn't mean to flick you off. I wrote this list a couple years ago, more than a couple. Their matches from 2014. We got Brock Lesnar and Cena at SummerSlam. I believe that's when the whole Suplex City start.
Okay.
I'll text you it. I'll message you it.
All right.
All these matches?
We can maybe do 5.
We're going to watch 5 matches and talk about them next time?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 matches because there's a total of 10. I have a total of 10.
All right, these are the top 10 matches from 1994. I'm sorry, these are from 2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you want to do all 10?
No. This is somebody's list, right? I don't remember where we got it, but I
remember we got it, but I know I was talking about it because this is when I was watching wrestling like a lot because Ollie was a baby, so he wasn't doing anything. He just laid there. So I got to watch a lot of wrestling.
France, it says 9 a.m.
9
Man
a.m.
alive.
Okay.
So there's a triple threat on SmackDown. I forget who it is. I think it's Tyson Kidd, Dolph Ziggler.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do this right here. All right, these were the top 20. These were the top 10 matches from WWE 2014, and I don't remember where we got this list, but we wrote it down. Number 10 was Brock versus Cena at SummerSlam. Number 9 was a triple threat match from SmackDown. You said it is
from November 14th.
November 14th, and it was who?
Dolph Ziggler and Tyson Kidd. I can't remember who the third person was.
Okay, was it Cesaro?
Maybe.
Number 8 was Payback, Shield versus Evolution. Number 7 was Night of Champions, Cesaro versus Sheamus. This is in the midst of their 7-match series. Okay.
I think so.
Number 6 is
Neville versus Zayn versus Breeze
versus Kid, NXT Takeover Fatal 4-Way. Okay. Number 5 is Daniel Bryan versus Wyatt, the Royal Rumble. Number 4 is Sami Zayn versus Cesaro at NXT Arrival. Number 3 is Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. Is that WrestleMania? Yeah, it has 30. To be WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Sami Zayn versus Neville at NXT Revolution. And number 1 is Shield versus the Wyatts at Elimination Chamber. Wow, okay.
That's awesome.
It's been sitting on my dresser for years. I clean, but I would always be like, oh, I need to rewrite this. I need to rewrite this. I need to go sit and watch these matches.
Nightwing says, do a tournament with that list. Okay, he says that DJ White says it should be 1 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, got you. Because you're what, West Coast? So 1 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be noon for me. You going to be watching it, doing a stream on it, Russ, or no?
I don't know if I'll be home at that time to watch it. I might have to catch a replay.
That's right. I forget. On Saturdays, you're out early. That's right. I don't know how we would do a tournament.
What do you mean by a tournament? I'm clueless.
Would we compare the matches? Which two are better?
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
Oh, like brackets.
If that's the case, we'll do the top 8.
Okay.
Unless, well, we could figure it out, but the first 2 matches would get buys, or I don't know how it would be.
Well, because it's not until not the coming Saturday, the following.
Yeah. Well, how many are we gonna watch? Callie and Jordan says top 8. So we need to watch all 8 before the next stream, 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we can get after this. We can figure out which ones we want to really invest our time in. I guess.
Okay.
2014.
I could find them all on Peacock, right? On the net.
Yeah, it's all WWE, so it should all be on Peacock. All right. Top 8. So that means we lose the Brock and Cena match of SummerSlam 2014 that I love. I love the Suplex City match.
No, the triple threat, the SmackDown is just a normal SmackDown. That's
okay.
That one it's a must.
So which one are you going to take off then?
Hold on. Oh man.
I don't think that match is on that list.
The Fatal 4-Way. We can do without this match, I guess. The Fatal 4-Way. We'll show. I'll write it nicer so you can see it. We'll send it to you, and then we'll figure out which one you can cross out the ones that you're not wanting to do. I think we can
I'll watch them all. I don't.
Yeah. I think maybe the Shield versus Evolution. I think the Shield versus the Wyatt family would be much better.
The NXT match, get it out. I think there's 3 total NXT matches on there, though.
Mm-hmm. There's one.
They had some great matches in NXT back in the day.
For real.
At least 3.
I'm not as big a fan of NXT now, just because it was so good back then. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those guys we had seen at Ring of Honor shows months before, and then they go to NXT and they're killing it over there too.
I have a sweet spot for a lot of the Ring of Honor guys, because when we started getting into Ring of Honor, we fell in love with it. We went to a lot of Ring of Honor shows, and then to see these guys say no, reading the dirt sheet and whatever, that they were going to go to WWE, it was sad to see them, because you wouldn't see them as close and personal. But one guy that I think was really cool to see him go on with Cedric Alexander.
We saw him when he was heavier. He
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight. He was not a cruiserweight when we saw him in Ring of Honor.
He was in what was that?
The Cruiserweight Classic.
The
That's
Cruiserweight
what got
Classic.
hired him.
That's what he got
Oh,
him
yeah.
hired. That was cool to like see that and root for him.
I don't know what kind of cover battle Cali and Jordan Squad. Do you have a suggestion? We took y'all the chat suggestion for the 92 Royal Rumble last time. I'll take a suggestion for a cover battle.
What have y'all done? Water?
Yeah.
Sky?
Sky?
The Sky?
Well, we did flying.
Oh, flying. Okay, so never mind.
All right, so the next stream is the best WWE matches of 2014. That's what we're doing.
Yes.
All right. Next week or in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2
2
weeks.
weeks, yeah.
2
And
weeks?
then,
Okay.
I guess also on the back burner, try to find your list of like the craziest WWE, WWF stories.
All right.
Yeah, we were watching a Raw the Sunday after our last stream, and just a storyline came up that, I don't know, you want me to say it?
Go ahead.
It was the Kai and Ty Val Venus thing.
Oh, God, I remember that. Choppy. I remember watching that on TV thinking, what is happening right now?
And I was watching like the actual Raw, which is so funny. I had to stop it because I was like, Ollie, turn it off. And he was like, why? And I was like, you can't watch this. And he's like, why? And I said, all you need to know is choppy or PPM.
No, man. It was like WWE was so wild back then.
Quite possibly the greatest lines ever said in the Night Raw.
Yeah.
We're looking for like just the craziest moments. Like last stream, we were talking about Boss Man dragging Big Show's his dead daddy in the casket, and Big Show riding on top of the casket. Like moments like that, we're looking for. Like just this ridiculous.
Katie Vick.
Vick, just that was terrible. Like all of the above.
Yeah.
Callie and Jordan Squad. I was watching wrestling with my sisters. We're much younger, so they learned the choppy. Oh man. Oh, good crazy, bad crazy though. I like the funny crazy, but
what would be a bad crazy?
there's a lot of bad crazy things that have happened.
That could be like a whole list of just rejected Vince McMahon storylines.
Oh,
That's a classic right there, DJ. That's on the that's on the good list.
I did put that on there. Somebody made a point with the whole when Triple H started the whole Triple H and Stephanie because he drugged her and got her married.
No. See, I don't think he really drugged her. I think that they were acting like he drugged her, but
to get back, like they were in on it.
They were in on it. That's what I'm thinking. They were in on it. But poor Test.
Yeah.
And I had such a crush on Test like during that time, and
not only poor Test the character, poor Test in real life.
That's how
he went nowhere after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wasn't he supposed to be the.
He was like the hot stud that was going to be like the next guy they push, and I mean, like he had some moments. He did TNA with Trish Stratus, but his career was like on a rocket, and it's kind of like he took a little bit of a dip. WrestleMania 17, he's the European champion wrestling Eddie Guerrero. They have a really good match, but he never regained the trajectory he had there when they were doing the Stephanie and Test dating thing.
I was so mad at Stephanie. I was like, dude, she gets to make out with Tess. Why is he dating her so ugly?
All right, man. Have a good one. Take care, DJ. Appreciate you jumping in. But all right, so next stream 2 weeks from now.
All right.
And maybe at some point we'll be able to work it to more of a weekly thing, but just the way it is with my schedule right now.
Oh yeah, no problem, man.
It's safer for me every other week until I can better manage my time. But 2 weeks from now, we'll do the top matches of 2014 tournament style. We'll kind of figure out how we do that, and then Maybe it'll be 10, maybe it'll be 8. If it's 10, like I said, there'll be some kind of bracket where certain matches
or maybe or not unless you want to watch them all, and then from there you'd be like, oh yeah, we could just do 8. Like
Gotcha,
you know
gotcha.
what I mean? Like, oh, this is not really worth. Maybe it just could be like a honorable mention or something.
Callie and Jordan Scott, Tess deserved better, definitely, and it'd be cool to have that European title back. Yeah. Nah, I don't know about that deal. I don't know about that.
What did you think?
For you and Robin to do the cover battle next time.
Did not approve. What was his idea?
That you and Robin battle.
Where was I?
He was talking about it in the chat.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
I thought I meant earlier this morning.
No.
You can't get mad at me. You know, earlier he said that somebody came to our house and he didn't tell me until 4:00 this afternoon. He was like, "Oh yeah, I
I
forgot."
stood outside for 30 minutes talking to these people, and she didn't know. She didn't care where I was at.
I figured he was next door, organizing his comic books.
I don't do that. I wait till Russ does an organization stream, and then I'm doing it at the same time.
No, then you get distracted, and you're like, "Let me."
That is exactly what happened last time. Like I was already organizing, and Russ like, "Hey, everybody, I'm going to do an organization stream. If y'all want to jump on, let me know." And I was like, I can't jump on because I need to clean. I need to do this because you were getting onto me. And then I sat there the whole time in his chat. I didn't even.
No, what you need to do, Russ, is when you're having one of those, be like, "Okay, fanboy, this is how you organize. You actually have to do the work. You can't just say you're gonna do it."
Alrighty, guys, we'll shut down the stream. Russ, as always, like I said, I think I even told you before when it was just me and you talking that I don't even care if nobody watches this stream as long as if it's just the three of us talking wrestling, like that's cool. And
just
so like
it's
always a pleasure to talk wrestling with you. It's always a pleasure to talk wrestling with the chat. You know, those who do like wrestling, but yeah, man.
It's like I never get to talk wrestling with anybody else because like nobody in the outside world here cares but me. I'm like the only wrestling fan in this house.
and when you meet those people that are like, "Oh, you watch wrestling? Oh yeah, I like Hulk Hogan," or Stone Cold.
Like,
and then you're like,
"That's 20 years ago, brother. That's 20 years."
Yeah, they're like,
like, "How do you feel about Pete Dunne?" And they'll be like, "Who?"
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I get it. They're trying to conversate with you, but it's just like it's evolved. It's not.
I'll say this: where I work, I had more people watch WrestleMania 40 than I've had watch any other wrestling event. They were actually talking about WrestleMania 40 this past. It was crazy.
Even my youngest sister, like she knows, like they all know how much I like wrestling, and I asked her, I said, "Hey, are you going to watch WrestleMania 40?" because she loved The Rock, like loved him, and then she goes, "No, he's too Hollywood for me."
What gets me is when like you tell people you like wrestling and they just look at you like you're stupid.
No.
Yeah, like, especially because my job is a professional job. I'm supposed to be serious, and I'm like, I take nothing serious. Like that's my problem. And I tell them like, and I try to conversate with customers or whatever, and then in the back of me, like I have a shelf, and I have like pictures of my family, of course, and then I have Ghost Rider, Man Thing, I have the Three Stooges, I have one of them, I have a Gremlin, I have Gizmo.
Compensation pieces.
Yeah, like I put them there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I used to watch that when I was a kid." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just watched it last Saturday." You know.
Like if I could get away with it, I would wear this everywhere I went. I would wear this championship like everywhere. The grocery store.
When you went to Raw, did you take it with you?
Huh?
Did you take it with you when you went to Raw, or you didn't have it at the time?
No, I didn't have it yet when I went to Raw.
Because you go to some of those events and you'll see like this one dude carrying around 8 belts, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Would you wear one to a pay-per-view or whatever? Would you wear your belt?
Why not?
Probably, because like in hopes that I could get it signed or something.
Okay, you got to put it on the line if I ever run into you.
Like I'm planning on taking it to me with for Heroes Con.
Okay.
Because a friend of mine Tough Comics. He's coming up, and he said he was bringing his Attitude Era belt with him.
That's nice.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so that should be some cool photo ops, man.
Yeah.
Neil, I did like The Rock, but after seeing him on the recent wrestling, no, don't like him. Robin has our full attention. We're about to leave, Robin.
I gotta cook dinner, Robin. It's making some pork chops, some broccoli, and some white rice.
Oh,
Let me show this right fast.
yeah, I forgot. You were mentioning.
Oh
that
yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
I'm gonna blow you up, Russ.
All right. Like, where is it? I know it's in here somewhere. Here we go. Great shot of Sting with the big
that's
gold.
nice.
So I was listening to
He
this.
sold Bret Hart.
I was listening to this old article where Sting was talking about Bret Hart stealing his look, wearing pink and black, wearing the jacket. So I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, Flair.
Flair.
That's so cool.
Are these from your childhood, or are these something you picked up?
No, I've had these ever since '91 when I first started watching.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
found these cards and I just had to buy them. Here's a great shot of the Steiner brothers.
Ooh, that one's cool. I like that with the dog.
Yeah.
That's when Scotty was one of the best. He's probably the best wrestler on the
at the
planet.
time, yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
When
Some
he-
of the moves he could pull off was insane, man.
yeah.
So there's so many just great cards here. Here's just Rick with the dog.
The dog face gremlin.
Yep. Another Scott Steiner.
That mullet.
Yeah. We got Ron Simmons and Butch Reed.
Doom. That's one of the first tag teams I ever saw. Man,
Yep.
like, tough guys, dude. Yes.
Just great, nostalgic cards.
Butch Reed.
Butch
The
Reed was
Freebirds.
the Intercontinental Champion, I think, at one point they said. The Fabulous Freebirds, the WCW version.
Yeah.
It's a little
Oh,
different
here we
than
go.
WCCW.
Teddy Long.
Eddie Long. Whew, man. Manager, referee, did it all.
Yeah. Got a lot of repeats here.
Do you put ketchup on your buddy? What's a
Buddy?
buddy?
Is that dirty talk, Robin?
Oh, here we go. We got a Jim Ross.
Right.
A young Jim Ross.
Young Jim
Yeah.
Ross. Those are awesome. I want to go. I want to
Oh,
go
I
look.
guess
I
maybe-
want to go look that up now.
Because
But
we
I've
have
never found a bunch of these packs at the flea market and stuff. Terry Taylor.
Terry Taylor. That's a interesting guy. He never got over to the degree that everybody talks good about him in the back, learning from him and whatnot. But he never got over in the ring.
sometimes
Remember anybody remember Z-Man?
Yes, Tom Zink. Heard Jim Cornette talking about him recently. Someone was asking him questions, and he was talking about how much coke he would snort.
There's a great shot of Lex Luger lifting up Flair. Mr. Wall Street.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah.
Mike would come
IRS.
to WCW become Mike Wall Street or Mr. Wall Street, and they would come back as IRS.
The Arn.
Arn's one of my favorite wrestlers. Yes, Nightwing McMahon talking about the Red Rooster.
Yeah, his spine buster, man.
Yes.
Arn.
Watch WrestleMania 18 when Arn makes his shocking appearance out of nowhere, a spine buster on Undertaker. One of the
Yeah.
best spine busters I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, Russ, but if you ever read his book, Arn Anderson's book, it sounds just like it's like he talks.
Like how he talks.
He talks about
Oh,
his
yeah.
mom. Yes, like the way he talks is how the book reads.
That's pretty
I'm about
awesome.
to check that out.
Hey, Ricky Morton, you got a card. You're going to be getting a sleeper hold on your own card.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. I got a lot of repeats in there.
That's awesome. I got to look for those cards.
It's the. I'm pretty sure it's the 1991 set.
Nice.
Yeah, 91 is the date on them.
I wish cards were cheaper nowadays. They're so expensive, and I see wrestling cards every now and then, but man. The completist in me doesn't want just part of a set. It wants the whole set, and I don't want many cards. Oh man!
Like I need to look it up and see if the whole set is like pretty cheap or not.
Like it's something that you can if you were to buy the closed packs, they'll be all really expensive, but maybe you can get a complete set.
Like I don't know how many is in the set, but I've got a checklist here. Let me find it again. There's always that pack that has the checklist in it, and I hated getting those as a kid because that was like one less real card. I felt like.
I know what you mean.
I feel like they ripped me off.
Well, alrighty.
And it looks like 94 cards total in the set.
Nice. That should be a cheap set then. Maybe 20, 30 bucks.
Yeah, probably.
Nice. I'll have to look those up.
Man,
alrighty, Russ. We're gonna go ahead and shut down the stream. We just got to text. We need to be somewhere.
First 13 cards are all Sting, according to this.
Oh, nice. So you get all his different. I mean, he was their franchise. So.
Oh yeah.
But alrighty, guys. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Whether you watch us on the live or you watch us in the on a replay, cool hanging out with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the 1992 Royal Rumble as much as we did. And, we'll see you guys later.
Next time.
2 weeks from now.
Talk a little more wrestling.
Yes. Best matches of 2014.